Okay, you can say if you could mute yourself from there, that'd be great. Thank you. Also, a large view page. 霊風我が信心を覚醒し、実法三世の摩擦、真悔に功徳おり徳を積み、人知無明のところに和合現ず、願わくは大英英語に共にあらんこと。老海鮮地小市中の雫、万象に入る月光これ仏性。光明大不要執法不要天文少子 Please place your hands together.三芸門画釈所蔵諸悪を海遊無視頓人知重心食い死傷症一切が今回三へ。All my past and harmful karma, born from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, through body, speech, and mind, I now fully avow. 直仏当願主上 大芸大道発無常意直営応当願主上人入共造知恵如海直営総当願主上鳥大衆一切無限I take refuge in Buddha. May all beings embody the great way resolving to awaken. I take refuge in Dharma. May all living beings deeply enter the sutras, wisdom like an ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May all beings support harmony in the community, free from hindrance. We'd like to offer a chanting of Makahanya Haramita Shingyo, Heart Sutra. Please put your hands in Gassho. 無常人人未妙の法百千万号南宋具が根検問特十字願下如来真実The unsurpassed, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rarely met with even in 100,000 million kalpas. Now we can see and hear it, accept and maintain it. May we unfold the meaning of the Tathagata's truth. Makahanya Paramita Shingyo Kanji を卒業人安やらみたでしょうけんを音階苦の理祭苦役者利子式不意空空不意式式即是空空即是式十創業式薬無尿図シャリシ図小空想無償滅苦無常無造無限税国中無式無重創業式無限に水真に無式証拠二足を無限界内し無意識界無無明薬無無明人内し無老死薬無老死人無苦終滅道無知薬異無所得広大サタエアンニャアラビタコシンムケムケゴムフオンリサイテンの空想ヨネアン三世小物へアンニャラミタドアドクタラサンヤサンボドイコチアンニャラミタ世代人種世代名種税務上種税務労働種農場一細工真実公説般若ら見た収束説収圧やてあらやてあらそうやて文字そわかあんにゃ信用上来マカハンニャラミタ信用プジュする功徳は第四教宗本師釈迦牟尼仏高僧上陽大師道元禅師大僧上西大師経山禅師 東山解散独法周遊大王将二世上周一大王将喜重所意にエコス不して願くは同じく主地をまどかにせんことを祈るところは欲王山総禅寺男神と並びにその固有者およびロッキーマウンテン全コミュニティメンバー並びにその固有者おのおの広く各家家門繁栄子孫長久最少上身体健康病気平癒諸縁吉祥ならんことおじおさんWe'll chant the Heart Sutra in English. Heart of great perfect wisdom, Sutra. Bodhisattva, deeply practicing prajna paramita, clearly so that all five aggregates are empty and thus relief of suffering shari, who transformed us not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself. For sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness also like a shari, putra dharma dharma by emptiness. They neither arise nor cease, are neither define nor pure, neither increase nor decrease, therefore given. Emptiness, there is no form, sensation, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no sight, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of mind consciousness. There is neither ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, origin, death, nor extinction of origin, death, no suffering, no cause, no cessation, no past, no knowledge, and no attainment, with nothing to attain. A bodhisattva relies on prajna paramita, and thus the mind is without hindrance. Without hindrance, there is fear far beyond all imparted views. One realizes nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future rely on prajna paramita, and therefore surpass complete, perfect enlightenment. Follow the prajna paramita, great miraculous mantra, the great bright mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, which removes all suffering and its truth. False, therefore we proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, the mantra that says gyate gyate para gyate pasanyate bodhiswa. 一例の心象もとこらいなし、元家の心象あり滅あり、仰ぎ恋願わくは散歩して召喚を垂れたまえ、将来郊外工芸当職笠珍衆を備え、厳然の生死と同音に、マカンニャラミタ信用不術集むるところの功徳は、釈一行ティクナット藩大王将に栄光し、法治を将軍す。武士て願わくは真空親しく悟り、深く妙の高いし、真知円妙にして速やかに菩提の顔現状せんこと。And time, honored ones, bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom. Please put your hands in posture. We'll dedicate the next service to those who passed away in the month of January.大必心だ。大心ならにナムタラタンのトラヤヤナムオリヤボリョキチシウラヤフジサトヤモコサトヤモコキャルニキャヤエンサハラエシタンのトンシャナムシキトイモオリヤボリョキチシウライントボナムノラキンジキモコオドシャミサボオトジョシュベンオシュインサボサトノモオヤモアテチョトジトエンオボリョキルヤチキャラチキリモコウジサトサボサボモラモラオキモキトインクリョクリョケモトリョトリョジャヤチモコオジャヤ シリシュラヤシャロシャロモアモラオチキキシノオラサングラシャリハザザングラシャヤクリョクリョモラクリョクリョイシャロシャロシシスリョスリョウジヤウジヤフドヤフドヤミチリヤムラキンジチリシュニノオヤモノソモコシドヤソモコモコシドヤソモコシドイキシウラヤソモコノラキンジソモコモラヤソラソモシラスオヤヤソモコソモシドヤソモコシャキラオシドヤソモコホドモヤシドヤソモコキンジハヤラヤソモコモリシンヤラヤソモコナムカラタンノトラヤヤナムモリヤボリョキチユラヤソモコシテドモドラホドヤソモコ上極まりかり通達し弱小にして国を踏む来して世間を感ずればなお夢中の字のごとし仰ぎ恋願わくは散歩して召喚を垂れたまえ上来工芸当職傘珍衆を備えやうやしく大神だらにを富士数集むるところの功徳は玉王山総禅寺1月小月供養せれ俗名立花隆二霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手立花家並びに高橋家先祖類来奨励俗名浜口帰省霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手浜口家先祖類来奨励俗名井口中霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手樋口家先祖類来奨励俗名松井楠友霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手松井家先祖類来奨励俗名平賀春次郎霊特攻院春山道中古事小月追善供養の真に愛用手平竹先祖類来奨励俗名浜野文江霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手浜野家先祖類来奨励俗名林力霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手林家先祖類来奨励俗名平田綾子霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手平竹先祖類来奨励俗名平田藤井霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手平竹先祖類来奨励俗名磯部明子アリス霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手磯部家先祖類来奨励俗名神田典子霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手神田家先祖類来奨励俗名真所三之助霊小月追善供養の真に愛用手真所家先祖類来奨励 俗名港ウィリアム霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手港家先祖類来奨霊俗名奥村静子霊自公院全身情報大師霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手奥村家先祖類来奨霊俗名奥のリンゴ老霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手奥の家先祖類大奨霊俗名の数え霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手をの家先祖類大奨霊俗名新谷義則霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手新谷家先祖類大奨霊俗名杉田ロバート定蔵霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手杉田家先祖類大奨霊俗名住幸おのれ正月追善供養の真に愛を手住家先祖類大奨霊俗名つたこリリアン霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手たこ先祖類大奨霊俗名竹の内ドロスティ霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手竹の内家先祖類大奨霊俗名戒名成功の外事正月追善供養の真に愛を手お外家先祖類大奨霊俗名赤木中木家先祖類大名祖道孤児正月追善供養の真に愛を手赤木家先祖類大奨霊俗名岡田豊子霊正月追善供養の真に愛を手岡田家先祖類大奨霊阿弥に世のの世相禅寺各家男神と先祖類来奨霊六神眷属一世の部も会の元時にエコース不して願わくは生じの流れに処して理樹一人総会に輝き涅槃の騎士に越して競輪一人駅天におがらかにあまねく世間を導いて同じく角路に登らんこと
Please put your hands in Gassho one more time. May this humble merit of reciting the sutras, offering the incense, offering our time, our presence, our thoughts, all be extended to our loved ones, our families and friends, to all people, to all sentient beings. Namakiye Butsu. Namakiye Ho. Namakiye So. Thank you. I'd like to start today's message by sharing the gatha that I read at the beginning. Crisp cold wind wakes up our body and mind. All the great honored ones in all directions of past, present, and future. The merit of their actions, their speech, mind, brings peace and harmony to the place of blindness of ignorance. May their virtuous presence continue to be with us. Rivers, oceans, ponds, swamp, and in this tiny drop of water in our hands, reflect the light of the moon with whatever surrounds them with. On the 22nd, in Vietnam time, our beloved teacher Thich Naht Hanh passed away. I am curious for many Japanese Americans who have started this tradition hundreds of years ago through Hawaii. There were days when World War II broke out. There were days when what I heard was Buddhism was such a foreign religion. There are some countries like Cuba, it's still a foreign religion, not well understood, and even discriminated. It was often like that in Canada when I spent time in Winnipeg. In 1995, Buddhism was still a very little known spirituality, practice of spirituality. Coming back here in 2000, 2006, 2014, realizing there are footsteps of those great teachers. Among these teachers were Dalai Lama. Among them are Thich Naht Hanh. So with or without our knowledge, we have been tremendously benefited, supported by their presence. I would like to share the short part of the funeral service and also his message on emptiness, which we just chanted as a sutra. So this is what I saw yesterday in Vietnam, and I'll just play it for a few minutes so that how many people are there to commemorate for the memorial service.
Shanghai, also at the frontier. We can see many visiting nuns in gray. We are very grateful that despite all the COVID restrictions, the government is allowing our community to gather to pay our respects to our teacher in such an intimate way. And we know many of us wish we can be there. And what an honor for those members of our community who can be present in this moment to witness our beloved teacher on his journey.
So it's just a part of the procession making. I also found a short message. He was talking on emptiness, which I'd like to share on this occasion, if some of you have never heard of his talk. Excuse me, I'm trying to make the little adjustment. Apologize, a little slow. The connection. Here we go. Just 6 minutes. Like 7 minutes.
Emptiness, shunyata. The teaching on emptiness is there, but in Theravada Buddhism, it has not been explored largely than in the Mahayana schools of Buddhism. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. When you look at this flower, you see that the flower is full of everything. The sunshine, the cloud, the soil, time and space, the gardener, everything, including your own consciousness. So we practically see that the flower is full of the cosmos, like the piece of bread that you are holding on your hand, ready for you to eat. Why should we describe it as empty? The Bodhisattva Avalokita, while looking deeply into the five skandhas, find them equally empty. Empty of what? Mr. Bodhisattva tells us. We see that everything is full of the cosmos, and you say that they are empty. And he will tell you, you are right. The flower is full of the cosmos. The flower is only empty of one thing. That is separate existence, separate being, self-nature, empty of a self-nature. Svabhava. Because a flower cannot be by herself alone. A flower has to interbe with the whole cosmos. If you remove the non-flower elements from her, she vanishes. She cannot be, she can only interbe. Therefore, she is full of everything, but she is empty of a separate existence. The same thing is true with a person. If you remove father, mother, and other elements like minerals, vegetables, animals, there is no man left. Man is made only of non-man elements. So man is there, not as a separate existence, as a separate self, but as a manifestation, made possible because the whole cosmos have come together and help him, help her to manifest as a wonder of life. So the first thing we learn that emptiness is not nothingness, is not non-being. This glass is empty. But empty of what? Empty of tea. But she is full of air. So empty is always empty of something. In order for the glass to be empty or to be full, the glass has to be there. So emptiness is not something negative. It is the wisdom. When we look into the sun, or the daughter. We see the father, we see the mother, we see the ancestors. If we remove father from son, from daughter, son and daughter cannot continue. If we remove mother, ancestors, they cannot continue. So son and father have no separate existence. Son is empty of son, and father is empty of father. Father and son, they interpart. If there is no father, there is no son. If there is no son, there is
Sorry.
the interbeing between you and father, and you can liberate yourself from the fear. Because you are your father. You carry your father everywhere you go. You carry all your ancestors everywhere you go. You are not a person, a self. You are a lineage. And when you see like that, you see that you are full of the cosmos. But you are empty of a separate self. And this is a very deep teaching. It has the power to liberate you. It removes all kind of discrimination and make you free.
Thank you. If you listen to his message intently, you will immediately realize he's talking about Makahanya Haramita Shingyo, Heart Sutra. You immediately notice he's talking about Shotsuki Memorial Service and everything else. You know, we're not Vietnamese. We're not Vietnamese Buddhist. But for someone who's as distantly aware of his presence, it has a tremendous impact. There's a waves of impact. And his passing, entering Parinirvana, I think has delivered a huge impact to all Buddhist and Zen communities. I feel like it has been such an honor that I was able to exist at the time that he physically manifested himself. Before I got this notice of his passing in Vietnam, anyway, if there are those of you in your own community who has not fully been aware, please, he's everywhere, and he's one teacher that we respect truly, regardless of which lineage we come from. Now, before I came to realize this notice, during the preparation, Buddhist practice, as he says, is full. We use the word emptiness of separate entity of existence. Throughout this COVID, in the last 2 years, 2020, 2021, there have been many things that we had to cancel. Sozenji Buddhist Temple, of course, is among all others, just like every other organizations, community, individuals. And with this, under the circumstances, I'm really grateful to the community. I say this every time in January after coming back from Canada, being able to spend some time with my son, help him get back to school, his mom. Now, a lot of people, I realize, is kind of living this life with a sense of not having something missing. Like we feel like we missed out quite a bit. But according to these teachings that we've been chanting over and over, and one of the favorite things that I learned, is that we are always at the top of the 100 feet pole. The way we proceed, taking a next step, is is an aspiration that comes from certain determination. But this determination doesn't rely upon the sense of missing out something. It comes from a sense of perfection. This very moment is perfect with all the components, with all the causalities. Our being here is perfect. And out of this perfection, this blessedness, or as Thich Nhat Hanh says, the fullness of how we are, we take another step. So there's not that sense of desperation. Rather, it's a contentment. I'm grateful that Shishin-san, Doshin-san are being able to be here. You're keeping some distance here. I'm grateful to all the Rocky Mountains and community friends for spending their time with us, Sozenji members. I'm grateful to all the board members of Sozenji and the members of Sozenji Temple for their continued, support without, being physically here. So we don't know what 2020 will be like. And I guess we're trying to be cautiously optimistic. But I really hope that you stay safe and well, take care of yourself, and keeping the mind, the most Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh shared with us, being aware of the present moment, the fullness of this moment. I hope you can continue to find that richness, joy of being in this world with everyone else here. I'd like to invite Doshin-san first to share her message on this occasion.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sensei, for that beautiful tribute and sharing that. As I think of Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, I think back to the events in the Vietnam War when the monk was protesting, the president of the country was trying to turn Vietnam to a Catholic country. And he was suppressing Buddhist freedom to come together during certain holidays. And it was becoming increasingly difficult for the people. And finally, one monk stepped forward and he chose to embody the suffering of the people in that war and the suffering of the Buddhists in that time. And he offered himself in the middle of the street in Saigon to be engulfed in flames. And this was news that traveled around the world. And there was interpretation by many Christians here in the United States that that was a suicide, an act of suicide. And that's the first time I remember Thich Nhat Hanh stepping forward to explain that this was not suicide. And he wrote a letter to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was one of the Christians that were confounded by these events and was talking about suicide. And he explained in the letter the suffering of the people in Vietnam and the suffering of Blacks, African Americans here in the United States, he reached specifically to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to explain suffering. He created that bridge. He reached a profound chord with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they became deep spiritual friends. This is one of the greatest models, I think, we inherit from Venerable Thich Naht Hanh, to speak of, as much as he spoke beautifully and eloquently, of peace being in every step, of the fullness of the flowers, of the emptiness of individual self. He's pointing to the interconnectedness, his concept of interbeing. And I'm reminded of a story of a Hindu teacher who was with a student who was constantly complaining about the burden of his instructions. And the teacher said, "Bring me a handful of salt. Put it in this glass of water and taste it. What does that taste like?" And the student said, "Oh, it's very bitter. It tastes terrible." He said, "Ah. Now bring me another handful of salt and let's walk together to the lake. Take that handful of salt and put it in the lake." He did. "Now take this dipper, take some of the lake and taste the lake." I said, "Do you taste the salt?" No. That's very refreshing taste." He said, "The same amount of salt for the glass and for the lake. The same amount of suffering in every human being. The difference is the size of the container." Right? I think what Thich Nhat Hanh was saying, we are not individual glasses of water with all that salt, but we are water that is part of a lake. We are a lake, and we can remember to be that lake, that our suffering is not just our suffering. Our suffering is in every living thing. So I'm thankful for Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, who has said in his writings that I've shared in my work, life and death is a game of hide and seek. A door swinging, open and closed. So I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and it was a pleasure to be here. And I think that this is my first opportunity to wish all of you a happy new year. In this season, which we thought would last for a few months and has stretched to a year and is now several years, a lot of times we are reminded of interconnection and of emptiness. However, one thing which we sometimes forget is that when we talk about mindfulness, we usually focus on this moment right now. And especially during this season, A lot of us don't want to be right here, right now, because this is a season of pain, of disconnection, and of loss. However, when Thich Nhat Hanh talks about how we are all drops of water in the same ocean, we are all leaves on the same tree, within our own life, that is true itself. All of the good experiences that we have had before, those are still part of us right now. Part of emptiness, when we are all part of what builds us together, are those past experiences, are those times when we have been together, are those times when we have had friendships. And when some people look at their past, they might view it with sorrow because that isn't here now. But the wisdom of the Dharma helps us realize that those good experiences, those loved ones, those times of connection, they are still here with us right now. We are those past experiences. One of the things within the last few weeks which helped me tremendously was taking 10 minutes and opening up a photograph album, seeing those past times that I have been through in my own life, to see all of the experiences each one of you have had, all of the friendships, all of the food that you have eaten, all of the joy, and being able to hold those and honor those memories, not with loss, but with gratitude, and realizing that we embody those even when we are facing our current struggles. And in the same way, right now, in some ways, we might not be happy where we are, and yet in other ways, in a greater way, we are connected both to our own experiences and to each other here and now. Thank you.
Thank you, Goja-san, Shushin-san. Right. And thank you again to all of you for sharing your time. I know there's a time difference, everything. I guess most of you are. Well, Sozenji, this is the first service, as well as this is following this service, Sozenji will have a general meeting. So we'd like to make a little announcements prior to getting into the meeting. And then I'd like to give you a little heads up. Well, some of us are joining us from the distance. If you could just briefly introduce yourself and then after this. Let me share this. So next service at Sozenji Temple will be Sunday, February 6th from 10 a.m. It's called Setsubunge, enjoying celebrating the new year with the throwing beans. And of course, it's going to be happening on Zoom. So I guess we have to figure that out. It's the year of the tiger. And if you're interested in this thing, you might want to check it out. And also, I'd like to once again say thank you to all for your continued support through your membership and friendship. This is a time of year, the Sozenji Temple is renewing membership and inviting new friends. We have two different categories, annual membership and friendship membership. Friendship membership is $50 a year, and annual membership fee is $175 a year. And so this is kind of how we support the temple, and we are hoping that we can continue to expand our friend network of friendship. In that respect, I'd like to add, again, a special thanks to friends from Rocky Mountains and from Lethbridge and Edmonton, and also Hector from Basel, from the south. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I'm gonna mention your name, so if you could either put your hands in gassho or maybe wave your hands. So Regan, everyone knows you. Kathy, yes, Regan, thank you. And Kathy from Lethbridge, and Hector, yeah, sorry, and then Rundle, right? Rundle from Tennessee, thank you. Our members here from Sozenji Temple is David. If you see the gallery view, you'll notice his face. He's the president of Sozenji Temple. And Mio next to him, I'm not sure if her face is there, is one of the board members. Beverly Murata is another board member. Oh, isn't something? Oh, okay, it's Sean, I'm sorry. Sean, I forgot. See, oh, I'm only seeing oh, there are two screens. I'm very sorry. Okay, the Sean's from Edmonton. I don't see everyone's face. Oh, you know what? You can send. Do you mind if you stop the recording?